readership. We choose a Q1 journal, but the audience is different. So we get it published, nobody's going to read. Because only people in that area would be looking forward for the journal, and they look for that kind of paper. And my paper is totally out of that area. So my paper is not going to be read and cited. So these are the reasons why the paper gets rejected, okay? Out of scope or inappropriate of the journal, I'll talk about it. Lack of novelty, originality, especially Q1, Q2, Q3. Lack of conclusion. That is another very important area that most of the authors will forget. We do a good research, we write a good paper, and then finally the conclusion. It's a very, very poorly written conclusion most of the time. When you review papers, we get to be very excited to read the paper. We find it's a very good paper, but at the end, when you read the conclusions, the person did not do a justice on the paper, the conclusion. Conclusion is what? The last impression is the lasting impression. So you are not giving the lasting impression. So that's very important, okay? Flaws in research design and method. Not many people really understand research method in detail, okay? When you do PhD, we try to learn a bit here or there, but that's not the end. That's the beginning of understanding the research method. Okay, so PhD is a certificate that tells you you are a certified researcher now. Unfortunately, many people in the complete PhD, they feel like, I am somebody. I got the PhD. So you like doctor certificate and be like, you are an expert, but you are not an expert. You are just a certified researcher. You are just a beginner. You're just a beginner, okay? So research method is an area where not many people are expert in it, okay? So even though you have done many research, published many papers, still you would need many time to go back and read and update yourself on the methodology on all part, okay? The next one, unclear research question, redundant publication, lack of relevance, and inappropriate or incomplete study. That's another area where most of the research are very weak. Majority of the researchers. We have some kind of phobia.
Excuse me, sir, Prof. We already managed to make it live in our YouTube channel, so everyone can join to that channel also. So we have the two stream now. One is for Zoom, another is with the YouTube live.
All right, participants, if you do not mind to share this information in the social media, those you are from, those of you have joined this webinar, especially from my own webinar groups, right? I have 4 webinar groups. I have more than 1,000 people there. Can you please post this link in those webinar groups, and so that your friends can join and listen to this program, all right? Thank you. Thank you, Prabhasha. All right. So statistic is another area. People have phobia on statistics. For majority people, they find it very hard, very difficult. So when they do PhD, what they do? They outsource it. So they go to somebody, they pay money and let them do the analysis, and they write chapter 4 and 5. That's how it is. That's not right. I personally always tell my students, what is so big deal? You are doing so much thing and you are doing so many things. Why don't you just attend to a workshop for 2 days, pay some money and learn the software? You will just simply enjoy writing paper. You have done data analysis by yourself, rather than asking somebody to do the data analysis and you write your own paper. It doesn't work. It doesn't work. So if you are in the field of accounting, finance, and economics, is data. And even we have written a very simple book on data. It's available in Shopee and Lazada. You can buy only 30 ringgit, I think they priced it on data, right? If you are doing any research in accounting, finance, and economics. If you are doing social science research, business research, is PLS, which is Smart PLS, which is very popular now. And even if you are doing like time series analysis and that, you can use the statistics. Qualitative research, you have NVivo, you have Atlas T, and there are many softwares available. If you are writing a bibliometric analysis, you have to learn the R software. And many kinds of software are available, and we all should learn at least one. The one that is relevant to our area. All right, other species or PLS or Stata or qualitative than NVivo or Atlas T. If you want to write bibliometric analysis, R software, any at least one kind of software should be learned for us. Okay, and this one I always say, but I won't spend time much. Just few seconds. The left side I put article writing is like you are planting a tree. If plant a tree, it doesn't do harm to anyone. It saves the environment, it gives a shelter, it gives many benefits. It gives fruits and all that. That is, you are writing a paper is like you are planting a tree. The other side that I put is like when you submit a paper, then it goes through stringent review policy, and sometimes you will just get frustrated seeing the reviewers' comments, and you will just feel like, I want to give up, I don't want to publish anymore. So it goes through like that kind of process, which I'm going to explain after that. Also, I'll give you some tips how to take care of the comments given by reviewers, okay? And this is my favorite slide I always talk about. Let me spend possibly a minute. We as human beings, we love to stay in the comfort zone. My brothers and sisters, living in the comfort zone doesn't bring you anywhere. You have to leave the comfort zone. You have to challenge yourself. Okay, so you have to go out from the comfort zone. Leave the comfort zone. So once you leave the comfort zone, you'll fall in the fear zone. You have lack of confidence because you are not that familiar yet. And so what do? You try to find excuses. And you see people are commenting on you, oh, this guy is crazy, doing this and doing that. That's a fear zone. You have to win over this fear zone. I have gone through that. Many of you have gone through that. Once you cross the fear zone, you'll fall in the learning zone. That's where the learning will take place. You will learn to deal with problems and challenges. Okay, you don't care what people talks about you. It's like when you walk on the street and you see dogs are barking, you won't take stones and throw to all dogs. You will spend whole day, it will not end up. So people will talk about you. They don't bother about you. Just be focused on your job and continue and win the fear zone and go into the learning zone. It's like you are driving a car. When you are driving a car, you see so many things are in front, in back, and right and left, but it doesn't affect you. It does not affect you. Why? Because you have your focus. You know where you are going. Okay, so that's what it is. You have to leave the fear zone, you fall in the learning zone. And when you start learning and learning and learning, then only after that, you cross that zone, you fall in the growth zone. You become lecturer, you become assistant professor, become assistant professor, you become professor, and you become, we continue growing. So we have to leave the comfort zone. Living in the comfort zone will not bring you anywhere. Okay, so I happen to meet somebody very established in the UK, and he was telling me, brother, I mean, there's no time for us to work. He's not saying lying down or sitting or walking. He say there's no time to walk even. You have to run. We have to learn to run. That's the way the world is moving. Everything is moving too fast due to the advancement of technology and many other factors. So you have to learn to run to cope with the changes taking place in the society. Okay. All right. I wish I could have spent more time with this, but I don't have, because basically I have to go to the important issues. Okay. In order to write, the first thing you have to do is reading. For Muslim, I hope our non-Muslim brothers don't mind. The first verse of the Quran is Iqra. And those of you know the history, 3 times the angel hugged our Prophet Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam. So read, read, read. Then only in Surah Alaq, verse number 4, Allah Subhanahu wa Ta'ala says, taught you to write with the pen. So the writing only comes after even Surah Alaq, twice reading, then only writing comes, So if you want to write, you have to read. But unfortunately, not many of us would like to read. We have lost the habit of reading. In our time, in the school time, we come back from school and we studied so many things. Personally, myself, even I read Christianity, Hinduism, and any books that I get, I used to read. But now, with this stupid mobile phone that we have, we just on the social media go to the Facebook. There's no face there. We just spend half an hour, 1 hour without anything. And even LinkedIn, we go in and we see this here and now half an hour gone. It's like anyway, you just spend time, time goes by like that, we forget that you have to read. And especially those of you are with me, brothers and sisters, I hope you won't mind. The last paper, if I ask some of you, when did you read the last paper? Many of my colleagues will tell me when I did my PhD. So once you have completed PhD, stop reading papers. You are reading papers because you want to pass the PhD. And you got a degree, stop reading the papers. And even there are many PhD students come and complain to me, Prof, I was having heated discussion with my supervisor. I said, what's wrong? He said, I told my supervisor after reading few new papers, and supervisor said, hey, you know more than me? Who is supervisor, you or me? You are trying to teach me? Because the supervisor doesn't read any paper. He is not updating himself. So if you are not reading the latest paper, how do you write? He's supposed to write something to contribute to the body of knowledge, the new knowledge contribution. So if you don't read the latest papers published, how do you write something new? So reading habit has to be back. We have to read and read. 3 times only you can write. So meaning that you have to write, if you read 3 volumes of books or papers, then only you can write one. That's how it is. And that's why if you look at Harvard University Library suggestions, how many times you should read one paper? It says you should read at least 4 times. Every paper should be read for 4 times. First time, they call it preview, read for the sake of reading. Second reading, they call it annotating, you underline, you highlight. Third reading, they call it summarize, so you just summarize it. And fourth reading, you compare after reading more than one paper with another paper. So Harvard Business School advises us that we should read a paper for at least 4 times to understand it. 4 times, okay? So that tells everything. So you have to read, and read. The more you read, the more you can write. So you have to come back to the habit of reading, all right? So that's what used to be the world. People used to read everywhere they go, okay? And now we don't really see that. Now we don't really see that. It's all about a stupid phone. Everywhere you go, you see with people with phone. But what they do with the phone, you know, I know. So we don't have to talk about it. But if you read something good in the phone, it's fine. But how long can you read the book in the phone? And that's the question. I leave it for you. We have to read, my brothers and sisters, if you want to be a good writer. Now, planning for article. There are 4 types. I wrote 3 types, but then I corrected just before starting the session. There could be basically 4 ways of writing, 4 kinds of papers that you can write. The first paper, we call it concept paper. An article that is written when we design our study. It's like before your proposal defense. You can write a paper. So this paper is structure. How you can structure this paper is basically you start with introduction, then literature review, and finally your expected findings. And in between you propose your framework, a proposed research framework. Sorry. And many journals publish this kind of paper. I have published more than 20 concept papers. Okay, even some of them are Scopus Index. The second paper is called literature systematic review or bibliometrics. Okay, bibliometrics, you can use the R software and use the Scopus database, and you can write beautiful papers. You can look into like last 50 years of publication in an area, and with the software, you can write very good papers. Last 2 years, my team has published about 10 bibliometric papers and all in Q1, Q2 journals, okay? So we can even write a systematic review or bibliometric paper. And the third one, I think many of you are not very familiar. We call it method article. I will explain a bit after that, okay? It's not very familiar, not known to most of the authors. And the fourth kind of paper, that's what is the most popular one, and everybody writes about it, empirical paper. You conduct research, either qualitative, quantitative, and based on the findings that we have, then we write an empirical paper. And that is the focus for today's discussion, okay? All right, this is a method article. So basically it's about 2005 to 4000. This is given at Taylor and Francis. I have just copied and pasted from Taylor and Francis, okay? And it has even given you the full template in Taylor and Francis. You can visit the website and you can get it, okay? So your abstract main body will be introduction, method, results, and conclusion. And then at the end, you'll have ethical considerations, okay? So some of it will be talking about it afterwards again. So you can write even a method paper, okay? You can write a method paper. How should we write? Let me start. So the primary criteria for publishing paper is, of course, in these journals are accuracy and clarity. Accuracy and clarity. The most important reason of getting our paper rejected is our poor proficiency of English. Number one reason of getting our paper rejected. All right. So if our English proficiency is not good, we have to brush up our language. There's no other choice. If you have to enroll to an English language program to learn, please do so. We have to. Other way of getting help is you can install Grammarly software in your computer, and you know how to use it later. You will know it. You can just buy it from Shopee, very cheap. And we have to have the other one for paraphrasing, the Quillbot. These two software are very important. Grammarly, Quillbot. Please make sure you have both of these software in your computer. You can buy it from Shopee, very cheap, and install it. Install it in your computer. English language, that helps you to write with accuracy and clarity. That's what is the number one point. Okay, so there's the primary criteria. And the first step of clarity, we say, is a good organization and standardized format of a journal. Any journal that you submit your paper, make sure you visit the journal website, you understand the format, and write the paper based on the format given by the journal. So when you submit paper, I think most of you understand, the first review would be done in the editorial office. If they accept it and send it for review, it's fine. If they reject it, that's it. Okay, so the format is very important. Second step is clarity, simply, and all that is English. A journal will tell you a straightforward story. Basically, you have to be very careful on the story that we have. And it is not about the subplot or flashback. Rather, it's a short story of a single linear narrative line. So every paper is about storytelling and selling. So you're talking about a small story. You're telling people a story. So the storyline has to be clear cut. And that is, we have to keep in mind when we begin, okay? The audience have to be kept in mind. Good writing, we say, is good teaching. Academic journals are published for specialized audiences who share common background of substantive knowledge. You have to understand that. When you're writing paper, your paper will be read by experts in that area. If I write paper in finance, that's what is my field. Who will be reading my paper? People who understand finance. People who write and publish paper in finance. So I have to make something substantial. Okay, something new. Somebody people can understand. Somebody people can get from the paper, and they will later cite me. Okay, so that's what is very important. Okay, so people who read my paper, they have substantial knowledge in finance, like my area, and methodological expertise. So we have to keep that in mind when you write paper. You're writing for experts, not for novice people on the street. Okay. However, again, we say articles should be written to make it comprehensible to the widest possible audience. We like to keep in that mind that anybody read, they can understand. That's what it is. So avoiding the phrases and all that is very important. Writing with very simple English. That's the beauty, okay, of writing an article. If I write and people don't understand, they won't read. They start reading and they have to open a dictionary. They every 2-3 lines they have to open a dictionary. They are not going to read my paper. So you have to use simple English, clear and understandable by anyone if they would like to, in our area. So you have to be very careful. We know that the paper will be written by, read by people who have substantial knowledge and methodological expertise in the area. But again, you have to make it accessible by everyone. People who are doing undergraduate studies should also be able to understand the write-up that you do. Now, telling the story, right? So that's the point. I said telling and selling the story. Social scientists study narrative from tell us that humans are great storytellers. And that one, we have to keep it in mind. We have to dramatize the way we write our papers so that people get attracted and people read and read. So when they read one paragraph and they keep in mind that what is next, what is next, what is next. It's like you are watching the serial in a television, So you are writing paper in that way. So that's the art that we have to learn. And that's the title for today's topic, Mastering the Art of Writing. So you have to write in a way so that people feel like, what is after this? What is after this? So you start with the research question, followed by the, all that at the end, they want to see what is the conclusion, what is the solution given, right? It's like you are watching a movie. At the beginning, when you watch, you start, within few minutes, you'll understand the story, what is going to be. At the end of the movie, either you will cry or you laugh. And you like it, okay? So that's what it is. A writing paper has to be like that, okay? So try to make it like a compelling story of addressing a phenomena or the problem. And of course, in the academic area, we'll have to have some theories, all that relevant to the story that you write. In sum, our article should have a strong storyline. That's what it said, okay? So there must be some take-home away message from the journal. Then only the site. Please keep that in mind. Something take away message. It could be at the end, it could be in the middle, anywhere, something take away message for people so that they can take it back, meaning they will cite you. So we should provide clear answer to the following two questions. One is, who has who has the paper told me, and what has the paper told me, and that I didn't know before. Something that you knew that you tell people who they didn't know about it. And then not only that, the new information, why it is so important to me. So you have to make it relevant, something useful, right? So something memorable for people, okay? So that's the kind of storytelling to them. Okay, the next point you have to keep in mind is so we should not be having too many subplot. Those of you watch serials in the TV, those of you are familiar with the Bollywood serial and some Turkish and Chinese serial, South Korean serial, it goes hundreds. It goes after one by one. And many people after watching, they stop and they don't like it. Of course, a paper, people want to read within 15 minutes or half an hour, and you cannot have too many stories in one. So you can have some subplots, but not too many subplots in a paper. So when you start writing paper, there must be an outline, right? We create an outline. So introduction and your literature review, your analysis, your results, then your discussion, your conclusion, that all has to be somehow we have to prepare an outline, and that helps us, right? Because it's like when I go from Perlis to Kuala Lumpur, I know that I can stop in Penang, I can stop in somewhere in Perak, then I go to Kuala Lumpur. So there are areas where I can stop and all that. So some kind of planning has to be there. Okay, so we have an outline, and then when we go to KL nowadays, basically we'll always have things to do in Kuala Lumpur. So we know exactly why we are going to KL and what we are doing and when are we going to come back. So it's same thing, starting your research until the publication and also following up and getting citations. So that kind of things have to keep in mind when we outline the paper. The title of the paper, we see the first impression, the last impression. Looking at the title, people try to read and download, right? When people download paper, they will put certain keywords. And based on the keywords, they get your paper. They look at the title, if it looks like very fine, they will proceed to next stage, reading the abstract. If they like the abstract, they find it's relevant, then only they proceed to read the paper. That's how it is. So title is very important, the journal. So you have to know, basically most of the journal will expect a journal title, paper title, not more than 15 words, not more than 15 words, about 15 to 20 words on average, okay? And looking at the title should be reflective of what is in the article. So we have to be careful. We have to have an art of writing the title, okay, itself. And nowadays, some of you may not be very familiar, but you can always ask ChatGPT. You can have your own title and put it in the ChatGPT, tell them, propose an alternative title of this. Then they will propose you many titles, choose the best one. That's what I follow now. I get good advice and good tricks from ChatGPT, which you can use. All right. Once we are done with the title, if the people like the title, let me also share a small story. Last year, I published a paper in the Q1 journal, and I put that paper title is Teaching or Cheating? Teaching or Cheating? And the journal editor liked it, the title. It's a very attractive title. They took it, very seriously. So they sent it for review. And you'll be surprised how many times I did the review, 8 rounds of review. So much of extensive review. The paper was not really that good paper. So because of the title, they took it. And after review, finally, the editor told me that she is somehow very much troubled looking at the title. They said, as an academic, I cannot accept it. How can you be cheating? How can a teacher be cheating? So my argument is, of course, those of us, all of us, we are students, and we know how lecturers used to teach. And many of them involved in cheating. Many of them do not do good grading. They do not teach well. They do not prepare well. And many things happen in the teaching process. We are tantamount to be cheating. So I wrote the paper, Teaching or Cheating? But then finally, the editor convinced me, and I say I have to publish the paper. So I accepted her views, and I changed the title. So Teaching and Cheating is no more there. So it became 3H, head, heart, and hand. That's the model we propose, and finally we publish it. Okay, so in the introduction, we look at the research questions, background information, significance of the study, the purpose of research. That's what should be in the introduction. Now, let me also cover that. Certain journal, they do not want you to have separate section of literature review. So what do you put there? So in the introduction, basically, you may have research problem and literature review together. So at the end of the introduction itself, you propose together with the literature review and hypothesis. So it all depends on what kind of journal you are selecting, okay? My suggestion always is to new authors. when we submit a paper to a journal, you select a journal, download 3 papers, and look at how people have written the paper and published there. Follow those style, and then only you submit the paper in that journal, okay? So this is an example of how you should be writing introduction. I'll be sharing the slide with the organizers. If you want, you can have it, or those of you know me, you can contact me. I'll give you the slides. So I'm not going to spend time there. Now, formulating research questions, very important, right? Research question is like, if you don't have a research question, that you are not going to propose any solutions. So you have to have a research question, right? And then only we focus on that, it becomes a theme, and follow on the rest of the procedures. And finally, we have answers to the research question, okay? Now, if you are writing a concept paper, then this is the most important part. If you're writing a bibliometric analysis paper, then this is going to be the most important part, okay? So literature review. There are many misunderstandings on literature review. For most of the people, we just do a chronological order, just description, we just copy and paste. That's not literature review. Literature review should be critical. And there are many ways of doing it, but I will always suggest that we combine 2 approaches, chronological and thematic together. So you go with thematic, but chronological order. So literature review has to be done like 1970 like that, 80 like that, 90, and 2000, 2010, and follow on. Now is like that. So it has to be on thematic. Those of you who are in social science business is substitute on variables. And then we go chronological order of research being undertaken. Okay, so that's literature review, where at the end we'll highlight what is the gap, what has been done and what has not been done. Okay, so that gap has to be highlighted. Okay. Next few slides on literature review, I won't spend time because I have talked about it, okay? But importantly, we have to keep in mind that the area we are doing research, there have been plenty of research done. Sometimes thousands of research being done in the same area. So there could be many theories that can explain the phenomena in hand, the research problem that we have in mind. So we have to have some relevant academic theories to be evaluated and discussed together with the literature review, okay? Now, this one I will leave it for your own reading. Now, this is important because when you are writing literature review, make sure you have your own voice. You are not taking from people and just writing, okay, Wilson 2005 write the conducted research and found out this, and then we say, okay, Amin has conducted research 2013, and then followed on and followed, and it's not like that. It's just a chronological description of what has been done. That's what we are not interested in. The journals are not interested in. So you have to go with thematic, chronological, and between you have to your own voice. Make your voice clear. That's very important. Okay, so you have to have your position very clear in the write-up. That this is your position, your paper, your research positions in between what people have done and what has not been done. Okay, and these are some example that I made. Like this one is just a chronological order. You can see year after year, it's just description of people. Everything taken from people, nothing from the person himself. There's no theoretical relevance and all that. This is something you can see. Its citation is there in between own view of the author is also being provided. Okay, so this is another example of it. I will leave it for your own reading. So once you are done with introduction, I'm done with a title, introduction, literature review. Okay, the next important section is research methodology. The key components would be research design, or study design, data collection methods, and statistical analysis. That's what you talk about. But again, for certain paper, we may start with research paradigm. Okay, so we talk about ontology, epistemology, starting with positivists, constructivists, or pragmatists, and all those sort of things. Starting from there, we come into deductive, inductive research, and finally we come to research design, sampling, sampling selection, and then data collection and statistical analysis. It all depends on the kind of journal you are approaching. Download some paper from that journal and see how those authors publish paper, how they tackle this section. Follow that style of writing, and then you write the method section for the journal that you are writing. Okay. So study design, basically we say clearly define the research questions and hypotheses, and we choose the appropriate one. We have many different kind of research design, starting from experimental, exploratory, causal, descriptive. There are many kind of it. Okay, so correlational. There are many kind of research design out there. So we have to be very clear on those research design, and we write the appropriate one, that one we use for our study. Okay. Many times we find this section, we find it very poor among authors. And we'll tell them that your research design is wrong. And sometimes we reject paper. We'll tell them or give them major correction just because the study design was not appropriate. Okay. So in the research method section, the most important part is data collection. Unfortunately, this is the area where many authors are unethical. I have got many papers. They did not even distribute the questionnaire. They did not collect the data. They created the data and they just wrote a paper on it. Okay, so now Q1, Q2 journal make it almost compulsory. We have to submit the data. Once the paper is accepted, we have to supply the data to them. We have to share the data. So they will make you scared if you did not collect the data. But again, I always make a point. Why are you publishing paper? You want to share your knowledge. So if you are not distributed questionnaire and you did not collect the data, what are you sharing? You are lying to people. So when you publish paper and based on published paper, you get promotion. Is the salary halal? Is the money that you earn based on your promotion, based on the false data and publication, is that money that you receive is legitimate? I leave that question to you. We have to be very ethical, my brothers and sisters. Data got to be ethical, got to be authentic, legitimate data. Okay, and then only we analyze. So data collection protocol, as we say, exactly the way we have collected the data must be elaborated. You may have employed a research assistant to distribute a questionnaire for you. There's nothing wrong. Tell them exactly. You may have conducted interview, or you may have used the Google form to collect the data and exact stories. Sometimes we see the authors are writing that the response rate is 90%, 80%, we say it's definitely unacceptable. I'm sorry, sometimes we use wrong word. We say bullshit, right? I don't want to use those words. In Malaysia, the response rate in the formal research is only 17%. 17%. If you distribute 100 questionnaire, get back only 17%. One of my PhD students used the Google form, distributed 500 questionnaire, did not get back even one from Bangladesh government's industry. Did not get back even one, So he has to appoint somebody as a research assistant and then went to the government factories one by one, following the human resource manager, getting help and distributing, collecting data. That's how it is. The full protocol got to be mentioned. You got to be very ethical in it. This is the most important part. If data is wrong, everything is wrong. Because your output is wrong, and the thing that you are writing in contribution, conclusion, everything is wrong. We should not be doing it, okay? And this part I have mentioned it. We must learn at least one software. My brother, sister, please learn at least one. You are learning so many things. We claim we are expert. We have done PhD as an expert. We are doing PhD. We want to become an expert, but we do not understand the statistics. We do not know the software that I use. So if you are doing a PhD in economics, finance, please learn its data. If you want to use time series, learn SPSS. If you are doing a survey, please learn PLA. If you are qualitative research, you learn NVivo, Atlas T. There are many softwares available. The one relevant to you, please learn it. You have to. Then only you will write a better statistical analysis chapter of your paper. Without that, you won't be able to write. Okay, do the data analysis by yourself. You will find it's fun for you to write that section because you know everything. So one is the learning software. The other one is interpretation of software. And that's where I always suggest you must have a team with you to publish paper. I have many teams now with me, many. So not everyone is expert in everything. So somebody is very good in running the data. Somebody is very good in interpreting the output. Somebody is very good in writing introduction literature. Somebody is very good in writing conclusion. Let us have a team of 4 or 5 people and we work together to write a paper. I know some people will say joining the team means what? You publish, put my name, and I publish, put your name. That is not the team. I'm not talking about that. I'm not referring to that. Working as a team to do research and publish, write and publish paper. That's the team I'm talking about. I have a team in Dubai, people. I have a team in Australian group. I have a team in Bangladesh, and of course, Malaysia. I got many PhD students. I got few teams. So that's how we work. And that's how you should be working. The world now is completely on networking and collaboration, my brothers. There's no more competition. It's about collaboration and networking. We have to have networking and collaboration. And that's how we can survive. We can publish more papers, we get more citation, and we survive in the industry. Otherwise, you won't be able to survive, my brothers and sisters. You have to learn to network and collaborate. Even finding a job requires you to have networking and collaboration. Publishing paper requires you to have collaboration and networking. Then only you'll be coming out good papers and publishing good papers, good number of papers, and get good citations, okay? This one I've talked about it. So after the method, what is it? Is now analysis, you have interpretation of results. I have mentioned about it, so I'm not going to talk about it, okay? Now, after interpretation is you are presenting the results, right? So based on the data analysis, you know how to interpret. Now we are presenting your results. Usually we do it with the help of tables, charts, and graphs. But please do not provide tables and charts without explaining. And sometimes we see that is the table, that's it. There's no description of what is inside the table. And sometimes what we do, we put table, the same thing, and the same data we provide also chart. This should not be. Either we put table or charts. Otherwise, we put just a graph. Not two, at least one, just one is enough. And then we have to describe what is inside and what is significant, what is relevant, what is important, what is useful. Those got to be presented in the results. Okay, so it's a provide sufficient context and explanation to help readers understand the significance of the findings. Many people, when they look at the table, charts, and graph, they may not understand. They will understand the way we write. So simple English and yet good storytelling. That's what I'm emphasizing. Good storytelling style of writing of papers, so people will understand. Okay, presenting the results. And I have given some more guidelines for you in case you're interested. You can go through later. Okay. Now, after the results, now how to write an engaging discussion section. So we have to provide the context and interpretation of results, discuss the implications of the findings, we highlight the limitations of the study, we provide suggestions for further research, and we maintain a balanced and objective tones. Here, when we are writing, why we say engaged discussion? Because this is the most important part of the story that we're going to tell. We have to refer back to the literature that we have cited before. And we have to show what is so important, so special in our findings. What is so special in my paper? What makes my paper different and distinct and something very special from others? The reviewers and editors will pick up and they will publish the paper. So this is engaging. People get engaged here. We have to engage people here, okay? Because the results and findings based on the output from the software that you get. Well, here is different. You are writing on your own with the help of what you have got from the data analysis, okay? So you start, you have a title, then you have introduction, then we have the method, we have static analysis, interpretation, and discussion. I have talked about, So when do we write the abstract? After writing the full paper is done. Then only we write the abstract, even though the abstract is just presented after the title, right? We present abstract after the title. And many conferences will ask you to submit the abstract first, which I don't really subscribe to. I don't really like, but again, for conference, what can they do? They will ask you to get to submit. So that abstract that you submit is just a proposal, not the final one. Abstract is written after writing the whole paper. Okay, that's the last job. Okay, so what should you include in an effective abstract? You should highlight the research question, methodology, results, conclusion. And we say the abstract should be clear, concise, and accurately represent the content of the paper. This is the masterpiece of your paper. And that creates the first impression. I always say first impression is the last impression. If the people like your title, they go to abstract. And this is the important, most important. But if they like the abstract, they feel, oh yeah, this is a good paper. So the abstract got to be reflective of what is inside the paper. If they like the abstract, then only they proceed to read the whole paper. If they don't like reading the abstract, they'll just leave. So we won't get readership, we don't get citation. So everything is lost. So abstract is the most important part of a paper. And that is After writing many papers, you will develop that art of writing. A paper is an art, and that's why it's mastering the art of writing and publication. Okay, so it is an art. In everything, there is an art. First time I wrote abstract was, now I feel lousy. Even some papers I published before I read the abstract, I go, my God, this is what I have written. But I cannot change it, it's already published. That one you have to keep in mind. Once it is published, it's published. You cannot change anymore. So it's very important. The abstract part, very important. So usually, most of the journal will ask you to follow the APA publishing manual and about 120 words. Many journals, some journal will allow you up to 200 words. That's the maximum for journals. Okay, but there are some journals I've seen in MRL, they do allow us a bit more. Okay, but again, it depends on which kind of journal you're doing. But this is the most challenging jobs. I say it is arduous and challenging task. We have to learn to remove the unrelated, unnecessary things. We feel is very important, but sometimes it is not important. The most important parts of a paper have to be highlighted in abstract, and I've given a snapshot earlier. So we say that most researchers leave writing abstract until after finishing paper, so which is good. But then it said that often they do not seem to give it the serious attention needed to provide an informative summary of the paper. So again, it's the last job. So when you are tired of doing research and writing papers, and the last part is abstract, so you are tired. You do not want to really, you don't have energy anymore, but that's the most important. So you have to keep in mind that you will be putting more effort there, okay? And then there's some other things there I put it. Okay, the last point for abstract is basically there shouldn't be any citation in the abstract, okay? All right, this is a sample of an abstract. This is a paper that I have published sometimes back in MRL, and you can see how short it is, and it's straight to the point, and those elements that I have mentioned before. All right, and the paper is being identified through its keywords. You know, there's the parameters that we type when we try to find a journal. So you got to be very careful on the keywords, right? And this is another example of writing abstract. So you start purpose, design, research method, approach. This is MRL way of doing, and many journals now follow, right? Findings, limitation, implications, practical implications. So that is very common now, MRL and many other journals, which we have to follow exactly what it is. And then this is the way of writing. So there are two different ways they have shown you. There could be many other different ways depending on what kind of journal you are publishing papers, okay? Let me now proceed to a few more slides. I think Dr. Masumi is okay, right? For me to continue another 10-15 minutes. Is that okay?
It's okay, no problem, please.
All right. All right. So next part, now you are ready. I mean, your paper is ready and you have selected a journal, you have submitted a paper. Now the most difficult part, my brothers and sisters, handling the reviewers. We have to learn to handle the reviewers. Now, if you are attending a PhD Viva session, and you fail to handle the examiners, you are dead. And there's no way you can argue with the examiners and you can pass. You can argue in case you have a valid point, but most of the time you are very polite, very courteous. It's like you are looking for a job. You go to interview and you start arguing with the interviewers, you are dead. You are not going to get the job. So my target is what? Your target is what, my brothers, sisters? You want to get your paper published. So please do not get into argument with the reviewers. Please don't. Try to follow as much as you can. Even I have changed the title. I have changed many things in a paper that I published. I did not like to. Even many cases, I feel the reviewer is totally wrong. And yet I have to accept the review because I need my paper to be published. And if you say a reviewer is totally wrong, what can you do? If you argue with the reviewer, he is not going to let you go. You can privately write message to the editor, telling the editor, dear editor, this reviewer has commenting like that, and actually he is not right. This is actually like this. And you have to convince the editor. That helps. But arguing with the reviewers in your response table that you provide may not be very helpful, okay? So we always try to provide some kind of, we have to understand that reviewers basically are not our enemies. They do not know us. They read the paper without our name in the paper. So we take it as positively. So they are trying to help us. So it's like they are providing some kind of constructive feedback. And we have to look at it carefully. We have to look at it attentively. And we have to be very meticulous in doing those corrections, okay, before we submit the paper. So potential conflicts of interest, and this part is basically many journals. So when you submit paper, they will ask you to propose the reviewers. Most of the time, they will not send the paper to those reviewers, but some journals they do send the reviewers that you propose. Okay, so you have to be careful. Whom are you proposing as a reviewer? I remember in one of my paper in a Q2 journal, I proposed a reviewer. I did not inform him that I have proposed you as a reviewer. So he reviewed the paper and gave so lousy comments. I was shocked. How do I know it was him? Because I know the style of writing. I read the review reports. I know this is from him. And I was shocked the way he have commented. I said, my God, I shouldn't have proposed him as a reviewer. Okay. So you have to be careful. Whom are you reviewing? You have to know the person. Your friend of yours could be good, but he may not be a good reviewer. So you have to be careful of whom are you proposing as reviewer. Addressing the comments. Read and understand the comment thoroughly before responding. You have to read and understand them. If you are not very clear, you can communicate. Most of the advanced journals provide a pen online, and that's where you can write the comments and they will respond to you and all that. Very interactive. All advanced journals, Q1, Q2, Q3 journals online, they provide that opportunity for you to be interactive with the reviewers. So online, you can argue, you can communicate, and all that can happen. Okay, but you have to read, and then you have to be open on the feedback and willing to make revision as necessary. They will not let you go unless you do it. Like recently, I got a paper just online published. There were 3 reviewers report. 2 reviewer, 1 reviewer accepted as it is. Second reviewer, minor correction. The third one is, how do I put it? A good word. A naughty reviewer. That could be a good word, I think. A lot of comments. One say completely nothing wrong, very good paper and all that accepted. Other one very minor, and he is like long list of it, and I don't agree with most of it. So what do I do? When you do revise the paper and you resubmit the paper for publication process, we have to provide a table, right? Whereby you put the comments on the left side and the right side, your feedback. That's why we say, okay, edited, and then please refer to page number this and all that we do, right? That table is a compulsory one now. So we have to, so somehow comply with the reviewers' reports, the comments and all that. But once you do, if you do not want to do it, that's what I want to say. The third reviewer's one, I just ignored. I just ignored him. I prepared a review report. I did not say reviewer 1, 2, 3. I just copied and pasted all the comments and provided my response to it and referred to page number and all that, which is being follow the tracks, right? In Microsoft Word, it is read, highlighted and all that. And I ignored the third one. So the editor has accepted the paper and it's just online last month. Okay, so it's up to you. We have to find the right strategy to deal with reviewers. You have some naughty people there. Some people have the show off. They want to show off. I am the reviewer. Let me see. Like his mission is to find faults with the paper. It's not like reviewer's job is to provide constructive feedback for improvements. But there are many reviewers. Their job is not like that. Their job is like they look for faults, wrong, why is wrong, why is fault and all that. They want to find faults with the paper. And they start commenting unnecessarily and all that. So you have to learn to tackle them. And this is the way I have tackled one of them, okay? I just ignored him. That's the best way of doing it. So you just put all the comments, and other side, you put your feedback and comments and tell them refer to this page number and ignore his comments, the one you do not agree. You may be able to cross that block of naughty reviewers sometime, okay? All right. Publication timeline. This is another very important one. How long? How long? Sage. I just got a paper accepted. I am expecting it to be online next week. How long did it take? How long did it take to publish it? 11 months. 11 months. My brothers and sisters, I am with this paper. 11 months. You can imagine. And last year we published a paper in the Science. It is now online, but preprint copy. Where are you going to put them officially online so that it can go to Scopus database after 2.5 years? It is in the queue because it is not open access. So I try to find how much to pay to make it open access. about 4,000 US dollar. So it's very important when you select a journal, either open access or subscription based. Again, you have to look at the time frame of publication. It takes sometimes even 1-2 years, some of them even 2 years. Would you like to be ready to wait for 2 years? So look at the timeline, how long it takes to publish a paper in a journal. The easier one is to look at how frequently they publish, how many volumes in a year, how many issues in a year. If there are 4 issues, good. If you have only 2 issues, meaning every 6 months, so your paper will take at least 6 months. If you miss that one, meaning 1 year, you are not going to get published before that. And there are journals, they publish issues every month, every 2 months, every 3 months. So you have to look at the frequency of journal publication when you select journal. Very important. Time is precious. You do not want to have a paper published after 2 years and then only get citation after another 2 years. So it's like your citation begins only 4 years after you write the paper. Okay, so we may not want that. Okay, so with some cases we say that be prepared for potential delays and communicate with the journal editor. Recently, we are caught up with the paper now. The review is done in 2 rounds and now is hanging on with the editor. 3 months, he is not saying anything. And we email, he says still in the review process that he's not giving a result. So you have to be very patient. You have to be very patient. You have to learn to be patient. Okay, so it takes time. You submit today and you want next week and 1 month, you never get a good journal. And the other point I have to make it very clear here, please do not go through the agents. There are many people will ask you, help me, I know you want to publish paper, give it to me, I will publish for you, and you pay 500 US dollar. Those journals are not good journals. A good journal will not ask you to go through the agents. You directly submit to the journal to publish the paper. If you don't, you may encounter many problems afterwards. There are many journals, we call it clone journal. I'm not sure whether you are familiar with. I want you to be familiar. Clone journal, what does it mean? You have 2 websites parallel website. It looks exactly the same. I wish I could have given a slide. I had that, but I cannot open it now. To show you the clone journal. When you open the journal website, it looks exactly the same, but it's not the same. One is the real one, other one is the fake one, the clone one. So if you are going through this and paying him the money, he will publish your paper. And then you go online, you find your journal, paper is published in a journal, but it is not in the Scopus database. It's a fake journal. You got to be very careful. I have gone through that with my PhD student. And also, if you're going through agents, sometime you will find that your journal paper has been published. They take the money, they publish the paper, and they post it in the Zenodo. Those of you are familiar, JDNODO. You click DOI, you get your paper, and you're very happy it's published. You go to the journal website, your paper is not there. It's not published in the journal. In the fake website, Zenodo is available and very difficult to delete even from there. Well, that paper is gone if you go through. So my suggestion is, if you are submitting a paper of publication, submit directly to the journal website. Do not go through the agents and do not go through other, bypass the original way of submitting a publishing paper. Okay. And this is the slide that I love most. Be aware of cars of knowledge. Academicians, we are crazy. We all of us, we feel like we're the father of knowledge, mother of knowledge. Once you do the PhD, we feel like I'm somebody, we start showing off and all that. My brother, sister, knowledge is not like that. Knowledgeable men are the most humble people. The reason we gain knowledge because you want to share. And the sharing of knowledge only takes place when you are humble. People find you easy, flexible, accessible. They can meet you, they don't talk to you, they can read your paper easily, they can understand it, and then only you share the knowledge. So if you're not sharing the knowledge, it defeats the purpose, okay? So do not act like you are father or mother of knowledge, you are writing the paper. We all a learner, Einstein says he is just playing with the sands in the sea of knowledge. That's what Einstein is considered to be the best, the greatest scientist in the history. He says he's playing the sands in the sea of knowledge. That's Einstein. So what we are? How much you know? There's so much thing in the world that we do not know, my brothers. The more you know, then we understand how much you do not know. The more you know, then only you understand the more you do not know. The more you start reading, the more you read, and the more you read, then you will realize how much you do not know. So don't write paper to show off. People won't like it, the paper. So There's nothing, it's like now things are so transparent. Things are so transparent now. If somebody say, I'm the great researcher, people just type your name in the Google Scholar and see how much citation you have. People just go to ResearchGate and see how much people have read your paper. In just few seconds, my brothers and sisters. Those days are gone. To tell them I'm the greatest man, I publish in my area, I'm the best. It doesn't work anymore. People just go to Google Scholar, they just go to ResearchGate and they find out what you are and what am I. So when you are writing paper, be careful on it, okay? Imam Ghazali has given 3 categories of people, the knowledge seekers. Imam Ghazali said, when people enter into the first stage of knowledge, they will act like they're the father of knowledge and mother of, who am I? I'm an expert, what I know, how many people I publish. Imam Ghazali said these people are just entering in the first level of knowledge. First level of knowledge, okay? These people, showing off kind of people, they say this, Imam Ghazali said this first level of knowledge. And when the person enter into the level 2, the person feel like, oh yes, I know something, but there's so much more things to know. How much I know? Very little. Like I always tell that my PhD in finance is only 5% of finance area, but I got 95% in finance area. I've never done any research. So I'm not even an expert in finance, right? So Imam Ghazali says, when a person enters in the second level, next level, the person feel like, oh, I know something now, but there's so much thing to know. There are many things that I do not know. That's the second level. And according to Imam Ghazali, when the person enter into the third level, the person feel like, I do not know anything. The world is so big, the things are so diverse, so comprehensive. And that's what Einstein says. He says, I'm just playing with the sands in the sea of knowledge. He doesn't know anything. Just playing sands in the sea of knowledge. Sea of knowledge here. So the person, when he becomes very knowledgeable into the final level, he will have the feeling like, I do not know anything. And that's what, if you read Surah Alaq from the beginning to the end, you will understand the message very clear. Okay, so this one we have to keep in mind when you write a paper. Then only we attract leadership. People will read and they will cite. They will have something to take back home, okay? This one I have talked about it, so I'm not going to talk. I have covered this most of part earlier. Okay. There's some other guidelines given by some people like Benners et al. He have given you some tips on the publication, like this is I have put in the red marks, no error in citation. This is very common. When you review papers, we always find it. When we read as examiner PhD thesis, this is very common. Cited inside, but not in the reference list. In the reference list, but not cited inside. And when I catch students say, no, I use Mendeley, because I also no, please do not find a scapegoat. It is your job to correct it. So what do we do it? How do we solve this problem? I always suggest that please print out the references, keep it just aside, and now you look at your manuscript. One citation you see, tick in the reference list. You see another citation, tick in the reference list. Tally that too. Then you'll be surprised to see many citations inside, but not in the reference list. Some of the reference list not in the citation. So either those are cited, but not in the reference list, add on those citations in the reference list. And if you have reference list, but not cited, either delete those or you add on the citation inside. So those all should be done before the submission. Like currently I'm in the final stage of the paper now going to be accepted. There they have identified two. This is the ISRA journal. I think many of you are familiar with ISRA Journal of Islamic Finance. So the journal, finally, they have found out two references, which I did not cite inside. So now they have found it out and they have notified it and have corrected it. So I have informed them. So you have to be very careful. And this is, I provided also a solution to this problem. So these are some other guidelines given by people. Like the Lightforce 2013, selecting journal carefully, and actually this most of it I have already discussed, elaborated quite a lot. So I will leave it for your own reading. Okay, so this is another guideline given, which I'm not going to explain a lot, but let me just take a minute possibly. The most important part of this template is when you have finished writing, make sure you share the journal with somebody, the paper, the manuscript with somebody in the same area. Ask him to read and give you feedback. That could be a good way of improving the paper, okay? And I have talked about the Grammarly and Quillboard software. So I'm not going to talk about it. And you know, plagiarism rate, most of the journal now, if it is Q1 is less than 5%, and it goes up to 15%, 15. If you are using Turnitin, make sure your plagiarism rate is, similarity rate index is not more than 15% before you submit the paper. Otherwise, they'll just reject it without telling you. From the retail office, rejected, not even sent for review. So you got to be very careful. And that's where the Quillboard will help you a lot, okay? All right, that's I'm done with my presentation. I hope and I pray and that the discussion that I have done so far until now would be useful to you. And if you follow that guideline, I'm hopeful that you should be able to publish your paper in a good journal. Okay, this is something very quick to show you. This is my ResearchGate account, and you can see our publication so far attracted 850,000 reads. I see many people will be putting in the Facebook when they have 50,000 reads, even 20,000 reads. But our paper so far have been read by 850,000 people. Not many people will achieve that, alhamdulillah. Our paper, somehow people read our papers, okay? So 850,000, so I'm expecting by next year to reach 1 million. 1 million read of our papers, and that's what they put me ResearchGate in the world top 1%. They said above 99% of ResearchGate members. There are 15 million academics in this group, and I'm rated at world top 1% based on the ResearchGate interest score, the way they score it, right? And I do have a YouTube channel. So those of you who are not possibly joining first time with me, I do have a YouTube channel, and this channel is all about research method. I put a platform for research and development, and I have already uploaded 114 videos. This is all about research method, publication, all that. If you like to, you can look into it. Some of the videos could be very useful for you, and especially PhD students. I do have even write up on chapter 1, 2, 3, 4, 4, how to write chapter 1, how to write chapter 2, everything is there. 13,000 subscribers there in this channel. If you would like to, you may. Now I will give back the session to the moderator, and if the moderator allows, then I will take some questions from the participants. Thank you very much. Assalamu alaikum.
Assalamu rahmatullah. Thank you very much, Prof, for your insightful presentations. And actually, if I just summary in one word, actually your total presentations really give a lot of unanswered questions that we are really put in your mind. Those are still the beginners of the research, because I can say just I finished my PhD, and so I am also still, I consider myself as a beginner. So I tips, alhamdulillah, it's really will benefit those who will listen later. Already benefited, and inshallah we are trying to listen your all slides, lectures at least 3-4 times to understand clearly, hopefully. So just a summary that, as you mentioned, that a paper we need to read at least 4 times. So I just learned that inshallah I will try to read, understand your all slides at least 4 times to benefit myself, inshallah. So yes, the floor is yours again. For
I think there's a question from Brother Muhammad Fahad. Possibly we allow him first. Brother Muhammad Fahad, please unmute yourself. You have raised your hand.
Okay, so please, please, yes.
Sir, thank you, Maruf bhai, and sir, thank you so much. Assalamu alaikum. First of all, and it was really comprehensive discussion. I mean, for a person who is actually an aspiring researcher, it's actually a blessing. Sir, my question is, sir, actually, I'm actually doing my thesis in climate finance right now in master's thesis. So next year I'll be applying for PhD. Sir, I have found particularly that Grammarly, you have said about Quillbots, and sometimes the results that we get from the free IDs are not the optimum results that we want. But as a student, it's really difficult for us to sort of afford the premium accounts. And so, sir, I don't know, sir, maybe if you have any other suggestions, or what's the perfect way for us to get premium things for our research? That is one question. And sir, I have particularly found the research process is quite daunting when you have really less money. Because, in Bangladesh, for those of us who are from LDC, it's really gets difficult for us to get a funding, or we have to go look at the EUs and elsewhere. So how can we take care of this? Thank you so much.
All right. I think during my presentation, I did talk about research team, Brother Fahad. That's what you have to do. That's what I am doing. I do have a team with people from Dubai, from India, from Australia. That's where I source out the funding for Open Access Journal. If you want to learn more, you can communicate with me directly. I will help you out on this, okay?
Yes, sir. I have seen your contact info that you've shared. Is it okay if we just pause you there?
I'm
Sir,
sorry?
at the first slide, you have actually showed us.
Yes. A slide I will share with the organizers, so you may get it from them, or I don't mind. I will put my mobile number in the chat box now. I'm going to put it now. You can contact me. I don't mind to help you.
That'd be great. So thank you so much.
0140449. Okay, I have given my mobile number, WhatsApp number in the chat box. And later, if you want, I can add you to my webinar groups. I have 4 webinar groups. That's where I think about 1,200 PhD students from worldwide. They are connected with me directly. I can add you there, so you can communicate with me directly. Okay.
Thank you so much, sir. But I don't see it in the chat box in the Zoom. Have you put it in
I
Zoom?
I just wrote it. It is there. It is there. I just put the mobile number there. You can see. Okay, I put it somewhere. Okay. Oh, it's coming like it's under Nur Sajwani. Okay. How do I write the Brother Mubashir, do you mind just to write my mobile number somehow? Is giving me some problem.
Okay, of course, no problem. I'm writing down there.
Okay.
Only the mobile number or anything else?
Just WhatsApp number would be enough.
Okay. I'm sending. Okay, no problem.
Thank you. Okay, Brother Fahad, the number will be there. Okay, the next question.
Thank you so much, sir.
Okay. I would like to welcome the next question.
Okay, Prof, there is some question already written in the chat. So should I read or?
Let me read from there. You don't have to read. Okay.
Okay.
Sir
Please.
Jonathan, I'm facing challenges in getting timely feedback from other authors, supervisors for the paper. I used to wait for a month, but now I allocate 1 week, allowing extension if needed. There is still limited feedback if extend. I proceed with the journal submission, notifying email on what the timeline of proceedical. This is something your problem with your supervisors. You have written a paper and then your supervisor is not giving any feedback and all that. You have to learn to develop relationship with the supervisor, have close rapport with the supervisor, and you have to get the feedback. If you don't get, so give it to somebody. Give it to somebody who can give you feedback. Possibly another lecturer from that university, or possibly some other people. Even you can send it to us. I get many papers from people, and now because I publish about close to about 300 papers, so I get many people will call me and say, Prof, I would like to publish a paper with you. I'm saying no need. You don't have to put my name. You can share your paper. We can look into and give you feedback. Possible, okay? This is something sadaqah that I do. I don't mind doing that. Okay.
Good afternoon, Prof.
Yes.
Thank you very much for this powerful and wonderful presentation. I've learned a lot today. I'm speaking from Ghana, northern part of the country. Currently, I am pursuing my PhD in public health at the University for Development Studies. I have sent out a number of papers, some to PLOS ONE Journal. In fact, what you have taken us through are some of the issues that I got as feedbacks. And I didn't have much idea with respect to what you have, educated us on today. And I must say this program is so useful for me in particular. But I don't know if there will be an opportunity for you to take us through systematic literature review. In fact, that is one difficult area that I think that people like you, if we get the opportunity to learn that from you, it would also help us. Thank you so much, Prof. I'm grateful.
Okay. Okay, I got your question. You want me to conduct a webinar on systematic literature review, am I right?
Yes, Prof. Yes, Prof.
Okay. Actually, there are few videos available in my YouTube channel. You can just listen to. That's one. The other one,
Okay.
give it to the organizer, the Imam Ghazali, the research center, if they would like to organize one more with me on systemic literature review. Hopefully, in near future we will do give it, some in future, or the organizers may find another speaker to do a
All right.
systemic literature review. Okay. But
All right.
now, for the time being, you can listen to some of the systematic literature review webinar that I have done with an American university somewhere 2 years back. It is also in my YouTube channel. You can listen to.
Okay.
Okay.
Okay. Grateful.
Right.
Thank you.
Welcome. Brother Maruf, should we take few more questions? Is that okay?
Yes, actually, I am also asking the help from the organizers. How long we continue?
Okay.
It should be until 11 o'clock, or
no, we can finish as soon as you want. I will finish it up. Okay, let me read another question. What is it? I wanted to seek your advice regarding one of my papers that has faced multiple rejection from website. Some concept you don't receive. I have made improvements on the. No, would I submit the same journal? Do you recommend? Okay, Sister Nur Sajwani. You have to be mindful of the quality of your paper. I know some of my PhD students, they submit the first paper in the Q1, Q2 journal. They got it, of course, rejected. So you have to understand the quality of your paper. If you don't, then you have to share the papers with some professors and tell them where can I submit and get some advice from them. You should start with like Q4, at least its corpus index is fine. You don't have to jump to Q2 or Q1. Then you will get rejected and rejected. I got a PhD student, got rejected for 6-7 journals. I said, no, this is not the time for you to submit into that kind of journal, okay? All right. I think chat box, there are no other questions. So,
yes.
Any question? I think I saw one more somewhere.
Assalamualaikum.
How can we, okay. Walaikum assalam. Yes.
How are you, Prof? This is me, Saifuddin here. I'm doing PhD in IIUM. My subject is political science, international relations. From today's discussion, I want to know, you mentioned about in methodology part, the relationship between ontology, epistemology, and the methodology. How can we relate it? Can you make it clear me about it?
All right. To this session, basically writing and publishing papers. So I didn't want to focus on it, but since you have raised it, basically, Walaikum assalam. Can I answer that question first? Then I take your question, brother. Okay, I reply to the earlier question first. Okay. Just to summarize it in a very, very short way, okay? Ontology basically categorized into 3: positivists, interpretivists, and pragmatists. In positivists, we believe the people perceive and believe that there could be only one solution. There could be only one truth. Therefore, there could be only one solution, okay? Whereby interpretivists, a group of people, they believe no, there could be more than one solution to your problem. So the first one, positivist, basically we just go to test hypothesis, yes or no, accept hypothesis, reject hypothesis. So it's called quantitative. Interpretivists will believe that there will be more than one answer, so we go for qualitative, okay? And then pragmatists will say no, even there could be more than one truth is true, but again, things are changing since things keep changing. So we got to be pragmatic. So we cannot use only qualitative, quantitative. So they propose mixed approach. Okay, so that's what we call pragmatist. So if you're following positivists, then you will are going to follow the deductive. You use the established theory, and from there you derive on and come and develop the theoretical research framework. If you're following interpretivists, basically there are not much of established theories available. So you do qualitative research. Finally, you come out with the conclusion of your research with proposed hypothesis or a theory. You propose a theory, become Nobel Prize winner, right? So most of the time you end up with hypothesis. Or you might go for mixed mode there. And here you have the many kind of mixed mode methods available, which is not the premise. This premise is not suitable for me to go into detail into it, okay? So based on ontology, then we'll decide what kind of research approach you take, deductive or inductive. And from there, we go for qualitative, quantitative. And from there, we follow exactly what kind of design you follow. So there is a clear-cut guideline starting from ontology to epistemology to approaches to design and the method. That's what makes your paper a good paper. Okay. I hope I have answered your question. Is that okay?
Yes. Okay. Thank you.
All right. The next question, Brother Mansoor, I think was asking a question. Yes, please. Please unmute yourself and say it, please. Since we are running out of time, so be faster.
I think Brother Aziz raised his hand.
All right, all right.
And you can ask him.
Brother Aziz, sorry, cannot hear you.
Prof, can I talk?
Sure.
Yeah, alhamdulillah, it was a wonderful session, and it is also the big opportunity for Imam Ghazali Center for Research and Publication to host you, and we are lucky to get you in this session. So there is the announcement from Imam Ghazali Center for Research and Publication. I shared our WhatsApp link. So if anyone wants to join with us for the next session, so please join with us. And there should be a way that we can connect, and we can also have the aim to invite Prof. Amin again, inshallah. Okay, Prof, you continue your Q&A session.
Okay, Brother Harun Rashid, you can ask the question, please. Unmute yourself and ask the question.
Thank you, sir. Thank you for allowing me to ask the question. I am from University of Borishal, Bangladesh. I am currently pursuing my PhD from the Huazhong University of Science and Technology, China. In my research, I am following the pragmatic approach and also going through the mixed method. And during my studies, I have found a very interesting approach regarding that. Usually in mixed method, I have found that I will have to go for the qualitative study first. Based on the findings of the qualitative study, I will go for the quantitative study. But very interestingly, I have found an article where Chris Oil, the person who have talked about the different methods or approaches, he has also written another article based on a counter approach, like quantitative studies are first, then the qualitative approach. Yeah, I haven't got that clearly from that article. Is it viable? Is it practically possible?
Okay. When you say mixed method, as I said, there are many different kind of mixed method will be there. You can have qualitative followed by quantitative. You can have quantitative followed by qualitative. You can even have qualitative followed by quantitative followed by qualitative. You can have quantitative followed by qualitative followed by quantitative. Okay. triangular approach. 3. Qualitative followed by quantitative followed by qualitative. So there are many different kinds. There's no fixed way of doing things like qualitative then quantitative, quantitative followed by qualitative. There's no such thing. It depends on the research problem that you have identified and defined. It all depends on the problem you had. Okay. Most of my students, that's what I do because I am a quantitative person. Most of my students do study quantitative. So what I will ask them to do is, once you have quantitative findings with you, do some qualitative research to verify and validate your quantitative findings. Okay, that makes something very good, you know. So when you publish paper, when you go for final proposal defense, so there is a way of defending in case you have any problem of findings with the previous research. Your finding is totally different from the previous research. But what can you do? This is based on your data. To argue on this, to validate that, you can do a small qualitative research to validate it. So that can be done. So it could be either way, either quantitative first or qualitative first. And there could be many ways of doing things, okay? There could be even, you know, just a webinar for 2 hours lecture just on mixed method. Hopefully, I will, hopefully sometime, if Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala permits me, I'll give you a detailed discussion on mixed approach. It may take you about 2 hours. Huh? Now, just to tell you, I conduct writing and publishing papers for 2 days workshop. 2 days, 2 days. Today's talk is only 1.5 hours, right? 2 days. Last month, I conducted 3 workshops in Kuala Lumpur. Every workshop was 1 hour long in 3 different universities. 1 day long. I started at 9, ended at 5. 9 morning, 5 o'clock. Whole day talking about writing and publishing paper. I think that's the best approach. Even if you have 2 days long, even better. In that kind of workshop, we tell the participant to come along with a manuscript. And then they go through with us. And then finally, after 2 days of workshop, we'll help the student to submit the paper to the journal. So submission is done. Okay, so that's even better. All right,
Thank you, sir.
All right, thank you. We give the floor to Dr. Ali Muhammad, please. You have raised your hand. Please unmute yourself since we have, yes, brother.
Assalamu alaikum, sir.
Walaikum assalam wa rahmatullah.
Nice to meet you once again.
Yeah, you are from Kashmir, right? You are from Kashmir.
Yeah, I am from Kashmir, sir.
Yes, please.
Thanks, sir. A very thought-provoking lecture. God bless you, sir. So, but there is one question in my mind which is always revolving from last 10, I can say from last 1 decade. All the methodologies which we are applying, they are mostly modernistic in nature, or we can say what we call the Western approach. So I feel there is a need at present. Let Muslims have their own methodology to go for these quantitative, qualitative, historical, empirical, these all the methods which we are applying. Is there any possibility that there need to be such an approach which we call as a Muslim methodological approach or Islamic methodological approach?
Okay, very, very good question, brother Dr. Ali. Thank you. For me, knowledge is universal. So there's nothing is as Western and Muslim. As long as the knowledge does not contradict the teaching from Quran and Sunnah, it should be accepted. Okay, so the methodology that we all use, as we call it waste or whatever, they come out, it doesn't go against Quran and Sunnah, so please use it. It's beneficial for us. Don't take it as like, no, like even like when the concept of Islamization of knowledge came in, first time I was a degree student at UIA and I have objected on the concept. I said, I don't agree with the concept, with the Malaysian current Prime Minister. I had an argument with him. I said, this is not right. He said, what do you say? And I said, this should be Islamization of ignorance. He said, tell me more, because he was the education minister at that time. So I told him, if we acknowledge it as a knowledge, it's already Islamized. We don't have to Islamize the knowledge. We have to Islamize the ignorance. And that's why I said the correct term would be Islamization of ignorance. So he told me, okay, let me give me some time. I'll take it. So there's something first time I heard from you, and I will look into it. It sounds funny, but at that time he was the education minister of Malaysia. Now he's the prime minister, and so I had a debate with him on it. I say it should be Islamization of ignorance, not Islamization of knowledge. And I was only 22 years old, and he was looking at me, I was a small boy. I see, if it is knowledge, it doesn't need to be Islamized, right? That's what it is. Abu Zahil and Abu Hikam. So I see it's Islamization of ignorance. So he said, okay, the idea came from all big people, Islamization of knowledge. I'm a small man, I'm disagreeing with you. And then he was saying, okay, give me some time to think about it. All right. I think there's nothing called Brother Ali is Western method and all that. As long as it's not contradictory, doesn't contradict Islamic values, accept it. There was a time when Islam ruled the world. Everybody used all the method we invented. And now they rule the world. And they have all the advanced method. Use it as long as it's useful and does not contradict Quran and Sunnah. Okay, brother?
Yes, thank you.
All right. Brother or sister, Rahama Rahim. It's a sister, right?
Yes.
Yes, sister, please.
Assalamu alaikum, Prof. Thank you very much for your nice session. It's really very informative for us. I have a question. sometimes we get offer from some conference that we have to present. Whenever we get an offer that we can present our paper, after that they will proceed and they will publish in a journal. So in that case, should we accept their such kind of offer or not? How ethical it would be?
Okay. Basically, if you are submitting paper to a journal, now most of the journal will say papers will publish in Scopus Index journals and all that. And many times I found it's not true. They said there was a conference in a country, I don't want to mention which country, and the university advertised that all papers will be published in Scopus Index journal. They did not even manage to contact and sign an agreement with the journal. And now they got caught and they sent a whole proceeding to me. Requested me, Prof. Amin, can you please help us to publish in Scopus Index journal? I decided not to respond to the email even, not to respond. But you can check. There are many established conferences. They are reliable. They will connect some good journal with the conference. Not all papers will be submitted. Selected papers, meaning that your conference paper will still go through the stringent review process. And only if they accept it, then only will be published. So it's not guaranteed. They take the payment for registration fee and all that, and you present the paper. That's it. After that, even when they publish in a journal, they will ask you to pay again, and the fee could be very expensive.
Okay, thank you very much for your nice
personally, I would prefer you, if you are presenting a paper in a conference, do not present a good paper. Present a raw paper there, get the feedback, based on the feedback, improve the paper, then submit in a journal. So you got two papers now, one is presented in a conference and one paper is published in a journal. So you multiply, that one you have to learn. And then if you are publishing paper, conference presented paper to a journal, change the title and you improve, you update the literature and improve the content of the manuscript. So you present in a conference just for conference, not for publication purpose. And then you improve on the paper based on the feedback you receive, you submit in a journal for publication. All right, Sister Rama? Which country are you from? Which country are you from?
I'm from Bangladesh. I'm doing PhD in IIM.
All right. Thank you.
Thank you very much for your valuable suggestion.
Welcome. Brother Abdul Aziz, you raise hand. Would you like to ask the question? Your hand is raised. No.
Yes, Prof.
Okay.
So good afternoon from where I am reaching the platform.
Where are you now?
I am in Ghana.
Okay, I'm in Ghana. Okay.
Yes. So thank you very much for the presentation. It has been very insightful. So my question is, Prof, do you have a system for effective note-taking?
Effective?
Note-taking.
Note-taking. I think you have to search in the YouTube. There are many videos available on it. You can find it out. What I have in my YouTube channel is how to summarize a journal paper into a single page. So you read 30 pages long paper, you can summarize in one page. That one I have a video, and also I have copyrighted it. I have few copyrights, so this is one of it. Summarizing research paper into a single page. And I got another also copyright, summarizing 10 research paper in a single page. I got the copyright from Malaysian IPO. But on taking notes on that, definitely I'm not very good in it. I'm not very sure. You can check on YouTube, and hopefully we'll get some videos and you learn it. Okay. Okay, I think that's last question before I pass the session to the moderator. The last question is going to be 11 o'clock already. Anyone, the last question? No. So I pass the session to Dr. Maruf. Oh God, okay, Brother Rafiqullah. Okay.
If I was writing the question, please. The papers that has been published as conference proceedings, can we republish this with some reference journal, and how?
Yes, if the paper is published in the conference proceedings, the paper we have, when you have presented in the conference, you get many feedbacks, right?
Yes.
And those feedback are not accommodated in the conference proceedings. Conference proceedings publish as it is, right? So there's no editing, all that done. So what you can do, there are few things that we do usually if you are publishing the paper presented in the conference and already published in the proceedings. Number one, you change the title. Number two, you update the literature and look at the sample size that you have when you present the conference. Possibly you increase the sample size, collect more data. So you analyze it again. So you're going to have new findings, totally, and then you write up the paper. Otherwise, if you are publishing exact paper that is published in the proceedings and you put it in the plagiarism, turn it in, it will show you 100% plagiarized. So no one is going to publish your paper. Remember, the plagiarism similarity index has to be less than 15%. That's what you want. You can publish, you can keep the same theme of the research, but then the title, the manuscript has got to be totally changed. It's different. Yep. All right. Barakallah fikum. Okay, I pass the session to Dr. Maruf Billah, the moderator of this webinar. Thank you very much.
Okay, thank you very much, Prof. Alhamdulillah, actually we have a lot of questions. We wish that we could continue another 2 hours, and then maybe we are sure that all of us will be listening and following you without any even complaint. But since time is not ours, so Alhamdulillah, it was really an informative session for all of us. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala accept, and really we try to extend our record heartfelt gratitude to you for sacrificing your time. And I hope that I will request, especially for the peoples behind this Center of Al-Ghazali Research and Publications, to arrange another session soon, inshallah, because actually we need more from you based on your experience. So all the participants also, I really thanked for all of you to support us. And if there is any shortcomings from our side, I really apologize for the shortcomings. But since due to the limitations, those who are not able to attend, I hope you will be connected to the YouTube channel, and even later you can also get, because we will be supporting the recording also that we have even from the Zoom. So inshallah, once again, thanks, Prof, and thanks all the participants. Especially, I really thanks also the Al-Ghazali Research Centers and their collaborators, those who are especially working behind, especially Associate Professor Dr. Abul Bashar Bhuiya, then Professor Nur Muhammad Usmani and others. Also, there's many professors, senior lecturers from the different public universities in Malaysia, Bangladesh, those who are really trying to help all of us to come out from our comfort zones, as Prof mentioned many times, to remove our fear and our laziness in the publications. So inshallah, we will be learning through this. And finally, I would like also thanks for the IOMBD community, and they are all active members, those who are really spreading this message throughout the countries, not only in Bangladesh, Malaysia, different part of the world that already attends. So once again, thank you, all of you. And then we could conclude here, inshallah, and could say Tasbihatul Kafara, Subhanakallahumma wa bihamdika ashhadu an la ilaha illa anta astaghfiruka wa atubu ilayk. والأسر إن الإكسار في كسب إلا الذين آمنوا وعملوا الصالحات وتواصوا بالحق وتواصوا بالصبر. جزاكم الله خيرا. Thank you very much, all of you.
ধন্যবাদ to বাংলা বলি।
জি 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 ভাই,
আসসালামু আলাইকুম ওয়া রাহমাতুল্লাহ।
আমি কি তাহলে ছুটি পাবো? আমি কি লিভ করতে পারি?
জি জি ইনশাআল্লাহ, অনেক ধন্যবাদ আমি ভাই।
জি জি অনেক ধন্যবাদ। জি আল্লাহ
আরে ভাই, ফেস তো দেখানোর দরকার ছিল, শুধু স্পিকারের ফেস আমরা দেখলাম।
ইনশাআল্লাহ পরের বার,
ইনশাআল্লাহ পরের বার আবার দেখা হবে। আর পরের বার মনে হয় 100-র উপরে নিতে হবে। অনেকে, আমি নিজেও অনেক সময় ট্রাই করি পারি।
জি জি এক্সেলেন্ট, কারণ কথা বলছিলাম প্রফেসর প্রফুল্ল তুষার ছাড়াই যাবে। আল্লাহু আকবার, অনেক লোক হয়েছে, আলহামদুলিল্লাহ আলহামদুলিল্লাহ।
থ্যাংক ইউ, সালাম আলাইকুম।
100-এর উপরে এটা নিতে থ্যাংক ইউ ডক্টর প্রফামিন ভাই, বারাকাল্লাহ,
জাযাকুমুল্লাহ। ইনশাআল্লাহ।
আপনার কি আছে? আপনার আলাদা রুম আছে?
আমার
আপনার ফেস দেখান নাকি?
আলাদা রুম আছে, কিন্তু আসলে ওই মানে ফেস ওই প্রথমে খোলা হয়নি, আর ওই যে বাচ্চারা মাঝে মাঝে আসছে এখানে, এই জন্য মানে সব আপ ছিল।
মডারেটর মানুষ
কি করে টাকা আমার এই যে টেনশনে ফেলেছিলাম তারা।
ডক্টর নাজমুল, আসসালামু আলাইকুম।
আসসালাম, রফিক ভাই ভালো আছেন?
আলহামদুলিল্লাহ।
সবাই ইংলিশে মাত্রে আমরা সিলেটি মাত্রি তখন
মাত্রায় আর কে কে আছেন সিলেটি
তা জানি না
আর আর কেউ নাই
Assalamualaikum.
সরি রেকর্ডিং চলতেছিল
ও আচ্ছা বন্ধ হয়েছে রেকর্ডিং আলহামদুলিল্লাহ। এবার আমরা বলতে পারি আমাদের নাজমুলের কাছে আমরা কিছু প্রশ্ন করতে পারি।